ready. This is going to be exciting.
Here they got career starts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
V-Speed. I'm your host, Logan Threlkeld. Alongside me again on these fine Tuesday nights, we have Jake Reeves and Michael McCarthy running the production truck with cameras provided by the world-class Dougie Beard. Jake, it's been a long few weeks since we had some coverage on the 87 series. How you doing, buddy?
Well, I'll tell you what, I am absolutely tickled to death to be here. It's been a couple of fantastic. I'm ready to get this bad boy going because last time we saw this Lincoln Tech IndyCar series, it was all kinds of chaos every which way but loose. And I guarantee you we'll see it throughout this season as well.
Oh, I can promise you right now, we're going to see a lot of carnage as we get through this series. These cars are not easy by any means. We had a full summer series covered here on V-Speed of these Indy cars. Like I mentioned, the drivers loved it. It was questionable if we were going to get this series here for the fall season, but here we are, kicking it off at Sebring International Raceway down in Florida. We'll bring up our schedule, rather. As you see right there, Sebring on the top of the charts. That is today, August 26th. We got Texas next week, Long Beach, then to Barber. That's one of my favorite tracks ever, just from knowing, a couple track days here and there on the motorcycle. Then we go to Indy Grand Prix. Then we're going to stay in Indianapolis for the Oval. We're going to head up a little bit north to Detroit, back down to the southwest to St. Louis for Gateway. Then it's Milwaukee, Road America, Mid-Ohio, Iowa, Portland, Laguna Seca, and Michigan International Speedway. We're going to finish it off for the season finale on an oval. What do you think about this schedule here, Jake?
Well, I kind of like it. You basically get the best of both worlds. Indy cars, they run on the road courses, and they run a little bit on the ovals. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, if they wouldn't have put the Indy oval in there, why? Why would you even run this right here if you didn't put the Indy oval in there? I'm upset they didn't put Daytona or Talladega in there. I would have loved to have seen that in the Indy cars. The fans would have probably loved it. The drivers would have probably sent me a lot of hate mail. And think about this. New Atlanta, I mean, you know me, I got that NASCAR side of me. New Atlanta with the Indy cars. That just sounds like that's just a recipe for disaster, or that's just a recipe for success. But to answer your question, you look at all these tracks right here, every single one of them, we've seen these Indy cars in real life, or, however, we've seen the Indy cars run on those tracks. So I'm really looking forward to Texas. That's going to be a good one. Michigan's going to be a damn good one. Indy, Milwaukee, but also right there, Road America, that will be a good one as well. And Laguna Seca with a corkscrew back there. I kind of like this schedule right here. Speaking of which, Daytona Talladega would have made the cherry on top, but you know what? You can't beat this schedule.
Yeah, I actually came across a video today on Facebook talking about why we don't see Indy cars or open-wheel cars really on a super speedway, and I have to say it makes sense, but I'm with you. That would have been so much fun. These cars have so much speed, and the draft that you can get off these things, we're going to see it at the Indy Oval. And we've got those long, nearly 1 mile straightaways down the front and back. It's going to be a very fast-paced race, just like it is in real life. And, you have to wonder, maybe at some point we'll take it to a super speedway course, but for today, we're going to start things off at a road course. And, well, let's break it down for you here. Down in Sebring, Florida, and man, is it a doozy. 3.74 miles around this course, 17 corners, and built on an old retired Air Force base. So you can see right there, the Ullman Strait where that red line's going down right now, that is a deactivated runway. So we've got a whole lot of room here on this circuit. It's going to be fast-paced. I've covered a couple races of NASCAR, actually, on this course, so that was very interesting. This will be the first open-wheeled race I've had the pleasure of hosting here on V-Speed on this track, so I'm really looking forward to it. 17 corners, that's a lot of room for mistakes. What do these drivers have to face tonight to minimize those mistakes?
I mean, honestly, what these drivers have to face is they have to be concentrated. They can't sit out here and just think, oh, this is just going to be a leisure walk in the park, drive all the way around it. You mentioned it just a second ago. There you see it, 17 corners, 3 3/4 of a mile. But the one thing that I do remember about this, and this race, Logan, when we had the Lincoln Tech IndyCar Summer Series, this was the one race that I was out. That was the 1 week when my son was born. So I missed this race, but I will say this. This place right here, it is narrow. It is very narrow all the way around this thing. When you get down to the bottom of the screen, but if you look all the way down there where Google Earth is in the turn 17, that long straightaway all the way around, and then it wraps around, literally you go to the start-finish line, that is Hell Corner. I'll go ahead and call it right now. That is Hell Corner, because we already watched what happened. I saw it on the replay. It was Patrick Travick and Eddie Smith when they went through said corner, blew the corner. It might have been Jake Ellenson and Eddie Smith. I believe that's who it was. But they blew that corner, drove through there. Both of them slammed it into the wall. Actually, now I remember, it wasn't Jake Ellenson. It was Brandon Evans. Remember it now just like it was yesterday. It was Brandon Evans and Eddie Smith. Both of them sitting in that corner. That corner is bumpy as all get out. And that one's going to be a rough one right there to go through that last corner. But that's something that these guys are going to really have to watch out for here tonight at Sebring. They got to be patient. It is narrow. And also coming down that long back straightaway, coming to the start-finish line, it is bumpy as all get out.
And not to mention that turn 17 that you're talking about, Sunset Bend, it just gives you a false sense of security whenever you're coming into that corner. That it feels wide enough that you can take it at full throttle, but realistically, just like you said, it'll be a repeat of Eddie Smith and Brandon Evans just putting the front left into the wall as they get midway through the corner. And then it's just a drag race back to the start line. So it'll be very interesting. Again, it's going to be a very fast-paced race. Only 30 laps on the board for tonight. So just a little bit over 112 miles. It's going to be a very fun one here. Really looking forward to it. Glad to be here on these Tuesday nights, representing B-Speed and Goat Locker as a whole. I don't know. There's a lot that can happen. And we are about 7 minutes through qualifying right now. 10-minute qualifying session. We've got a couple fast laps on the board already. What do you think? Who do we have to look out for here? You've got some background from the Summer Series. Who's bad fast in these cars, Jake? A little difficulty there with Jake, but I think a couple of them here that's going to be notable. This the number 1 machine, Rick Ray Vaughn. He has set a lap time of 1 minute 42 seconds, and it is right now on the top of the board by about a 1/10 and a half. So he's up there. We got Brian Provo, another driver that is notoriously fast in the GT3 series. So a lot of background in the road course side of things. But what do you say? Let's holler at our producer here, Michael McCarthy. Let's see if we can get some of these guys on track in their qualifying effort. I still see there's a couple of them out there. Maybe take a look at Doug Ellingson or James Goshen. Regis Clark is still out there turning laps too. On the cameras right now, we'll get you some live feed here. As I say that, it looks like both Ellingson and Clark have pulled it down. Nathan Graham out here on track has just completed his 2nd lap. That will be the fastest lap on the board now, dethroning Rick Ray Vaughn from that number 1 spot. Here we go down the front stretch into the first left-hander of the night. Oh, and loses it as we come out of turn 1. Matthias Marcamini in the 78 puts it into the wall. I don't think there's going to be enough time to get it back to the pit, reset, and try to come back out for another lap, but we do have one good lap for the 78. That's going to put him right there in the 6th position to start this one out. In the meantime, though, what do you say we send it to our national anthem? Then we'll be right back for the grid and get this thing kicked off here at Sebring.
Oh, say, can you see?
You good, Mike?
By the dawn's
Hey, Logan, buddy, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, man. I didn't see your message. I threw it to you.
It's fine. No, wife come in here, dude. He's got a bad tummy ache or whatever.
At the twilight,
I guess he's having.
Gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you once again, Jared Ashley, for our nation's anthem. Jake, we're here in Sebring. We've got cars lined up. It's time to get right into the grid. And setting our Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award is going to be That 05 of Nathan Graham with a 1 minute 42.175 second lap. And the one who was just barely dethroned, Rick Ray Vaughn, will start in P2. P3 will be the 08 of Brian Provo. Like I said, look out for that one. A lot of road course experience coming from Brian. He'll be starting out next to the 8 of Regis Clark in 4th. Row 3 will be Ryan Pendleton in the 23, next to the 78 of Matthias Marcamini. Behind them, we've got the 33 of Tyler Justice next to the 85 of Jay Cam. And last but not least, in the top 10, it's the 4 of Mike Browning next to the 38 of Rob Kubat.
Absolutely, Logan. I mean, Sebring is going to really put on a treat. And how about this right here, starting in P11? The man, the myth, the legend, Patrick Drabick, 07, rolling up from P11. His outside will be occupied by the 117, which is Warren Clayton, a new name. We didn't see him in the summer series. We'll see what he can do here tonight. Devin Smith in the 24. Obviously a regular here with Goat Locker. We rolling off from P13. His outside is Jamie Lemke, another Goat Locker regular, starting from P14, obviously in the number 16, which is what Jamie runs regularly. Bearded Madness, that's the nickname I'm going to give him right here, Logan. James Goshen in the house, 085, starting 15th. And how about on the outside? It has been a long time since I have called this man's name out in Goat Locker. Proud to call him out. Doug Ellingson, starting in P16. Been a while since I've watched old Dougie race here at Goat Locker. Hopefully he can turn out a good one here tonight at Sebring, rolling off from P16. Then there you see Noah Hogard, the 17th driver to take time here at Sebring. And Logan, you mentioned just a second ago, you was talking about this, drivers to watch out for. Drivers I'm looking for Regis Clark. You see Regis Clark starting in P4. Regis Clark won the Summer Series Championship with the Lincoln Tech IndyCar Series. You look down at P7, 3-3, double 3, Tyler Justice. Watch out for Justice. Loves these IndyCars. He was one of them drivers like you were talking about that was advocating 9 ways to Sunday. Bring this damn series back. We want to race in this thing. Justice was one of them wanting to bring it back. Jake Ham, watch out for him. He's going to be good. You mentioned Brian Provo up there as well. And don't count out Patrick Drabick. Granted, the only races he won was on a damn oval, but he's pretty good in these Indy cars. Got to give him a little bit of love. I mean, he pays our bills, Logan. I mean, we got to give him a little bit of credit here. But those are the guys that I would be watching out for. Ryan Pendleton, watch out for him as well. Nathan Graham would be a good one to pick as well. You already saw it on the speed as well, but I'm telling you, Sebring, you see it, it ain't that wide, Logan. Anything can happen.
It is not wide at all. You will not hardly see it, but there is an opportunity for 3 wide to happen here, but it is going to be extremely sketchy if we see that. We are talking about the outside tires being on the grass if that opportunity does arise. But, you know, for the most part, these cars are very affected by the draft. So expect to see a lot of these drivers, you know, try to utilize that and position themselves in a spot where they can pass on one of the straightaways, either the straightaway between turn 16 and 17, Holman Straight, or after turn 17, back down the front stretch across the start line. You know, this is going to be a big passing opportunity zone, and that's going to be really a race deciding zone, in my opinion, at least in the races that I've covered here so far, as we see that long straightaway coming out of turn 16. Here we go, Jake. We are just moments away from kicking off these Tuesday nights, and it is going to be so much fun. I can't express how excited I am to be here for the coverage of this series. It is going to be a blast through and through. A great mixture of road courses and oval courses throughout the season. And then just one race to settle it all. Pace car gets down into turn 17. We'll have to keep a close eye on this corner all night long underneath the Sunset Bridge. Out of turn 17 we come. Pace car will dive off. Green flag in the air, and for the first time we go flying down the straightaway into turn 1. The 78 gets the advantage momentarily. The 05 and Nathan Graham holds on to that pole position. Rick Ray Vaughn hot on his tail, side by side behind for third place. Brian Provo, Regis Clark battling it out for that third position, and still side by side further behind.
I mean, they are absolutely digging back here, but now everybody looks like they may start to get single filed out. A couple of them tried to jump inside, jump outside, maybe even try to give them a little wing tap.
Shoot out of the hairpin.
Bumper tags, no! Regis Clark, summer champion through the Summer Series with Lincoln Tech IndyCar Series through the summer. Regis Clark started up in the top 5 now. He's going to drop down to P13. You see the 38 right here, that's Cobad trying to work his way up through here. Brown and right in front of him as well. Nathan Graham tried to check out in the 05. Remember, if you watched us in the Summer Series, Nathan Graham, Big Dog Daddy, he won it at Long Beach. Obviously had the Georgia Bulldog logo and all that cool stuff, and we don't talk about that, Logan, but that's beside the point. Graham leads. Rayvon tried to give chase. He's the only one actually in the vicinity trying to give chase. Everybody else, they're getting left in the dust, Logan.
Provo about a second and a half back now, just on lap 1, but able to get separated as we see cars wide off at the back. I believe that's the 085 or possibly the 58 of Doug Ellingson. One of those two drivers a little bit wide out of turn 16. Nathan Graham, Rick Ray Vaughn checking out from the rest of the field as they click off their first lap at a 148.329 for Nathan Graham, a 149.0 for Rick Ray Vaughn in P2. Now separated by 0.8 of a second. Nathan Graham looking to get away with a very fast car right now. We'll see if he can hold it up as this race goes through. One of my favorite sections there on the camera, that is turns 3, 4, and 5. A little switchback section. Love seeing that kind of weaving action. You know, these cars, they're so heavily focused on downforce. We've got to look to the inside in the hairpin. Nothing doing of it, though. Settles right back out to how it was coming into it.
Yeah, there you see everybody tried to work the way on through here. 23, Ryan Pendleton, a Goat Locker regular, if you will, tried to put a little pressure on Brian Provo. This is the battle for third. Matter of fact, the guy sitting in fifth, Tyler Justice, he's nowhere to be found. He's nowhere even near Ryan Pendleton. Riding on board. You saw that camera angle right there. If we can, real quick, Michael, let's go back and let's look at this camera angle from the onboard cam, literally from the helmet, because I want to show everybody a little something right here. How in the hell do you drive like that? There is no way, Logan, I could race with how that looks. I would have to go in there and find some configurations, knock my guy down a little bit in the seat, because you got that big old bar right there in the middle. That sucker's smack dab in the middle of, of your point of view. I mean, that would be a blind spot. At least in my opinion, that would be a safety hazard. There we go. That's how I would want my camera right there to be able to at least drive. And now since you flipped it like that, Pendleton actually shot around Provo. Something happened to Graham, though. Nathan Graham was up here leading the race. Somehow or another, he is now down to 9th. And something happened. I bet you Rayvon and Graham, I bet you they both made a little bit of contact, Logan. That's how Pendleton and Provo, they were able to catch up to Rayvon right here. Something happened to that 05. Hopefully we can get an instant replay, figure out exactly what happened.
The 05 looks like had issues down in turn 17. Just after coming underneath the bridge, the back end started to step out. Luckily kept it off the wall, but it's not beneficial to go from first place up by nearly a second all the way back to 9th. That's a lot of room you have to drive through. A lot of good drivers back here from first all the way to 8th that Graham is going to have to challenge, and it's not going to be an easy one by any means. These drivers are not going to lay over and let anybody just have a spot. As we see right in front of Graham right now, 3-car battle between Mike Browning, Rob Kubat, and Patrick Drabick for that 6th position. Mike Browning holding down the 6th position right now. Kubat all over that rear end of that Ford machine. You can see him bobbing and weaving all around the track, trying to find a little bit of extra help from the aerodynamics of these cars down the Ullman Straight. Here's that opportunity I was mentioning, a great passing spot. We might see a look to the inside. No, Drabick stays in line, even a little bit wide. He's going to let that door open for Nathan Graham. He takes advantage as we got a little bit of contact with the wall up ahead for Mark Browning. Might have just actually gotten up on the hump. That section right there out of 17, there's a small bump right before you get to the wall that, for a broadcaster, it might end up looking like a little bit of a wall tap, but it's not.
Nah, not that bad. I mean, these cars, though, Logan, you know this as well. You see how these cars' wheels, they stick out a little bit. All you got to do is barely tap the damn wall, and you can literally knock the whole wheel completely off of it. You see first through third right here, battle live here on V-Speed on your screen. But that corner that you were talking about, where they go down that long back straightaway, that was the corner that I was talking about earlier, Logan. That was Hell Corner. The reason I say that is you sit there and you watch them. Watch them when they go through that final corner. We'll check them out right here as we see Pendleton able to shoot around Bravon, get a hold of the lead. Provo may try to put a little pressure on him. If anybody remembers from the Summer Series, Brian Provo sat on the pole for Road America. That's as far as he got up at the front. He's spun it around in turn 1 on lap 1, so hopefully he can rebound. Looks like he's doing a fantastic job. Okay, right here is what I'm talking about, Logan. They shoot down this long back straightaway. They're going to make this hard right-hand U-turn, if you will. Watch as they go from asphalt, come down, and looks like they're on concrete. Look at them bouncing. Everybody's bouncing. They're bouncing like a damn basketball going through there. Everybody trying to hold on. Oh, baby, Provo almost got up into the fence. That's why we call it Hell Corner, because you don't know if you're going to get torn all to pieces or what when you come off that corner. At least that's why I call it that.
And it's a very high possibility. Like you said, it's a very bumpy corner on top of these cars having such a rigid chassis and really, not a whole lot of suspension help. Again, these cars are solely focused on the downforce capabilities and that top speed once we get to our oval tracks, that the suspension's an afterthought. Yes, it's there, but you can see it. It's completely exposed in the front end. There is hardly any assistance for shock absorption. So it's a lot of bouncing. If you're in this car in real life, you're probably going to focus a lot on the neck exercise. Make sure that your head can be supported the entire time. We're talking about a lot of G-force side to side as these drivers are navigating these road courses.
Yeah, Logan, and you mentioned that as well. Folks, this is sim racing. This is sim racing. But at the same time, with some of what, you're seeing out here live here tonight, this is why it's a sim. This is why it's not just like a console game like on the PlayStation or anything like that. You get the full real experience when you get out here and you run the Lincoln Tech IndyCar Series, or the Cruising Classics Next Gen Series, or, the trucks, the Xfinity, or a damn dirt late model for all we know. You get the full experience. When you talk about the G-forces and the rattling around, you get all that stuff. You literally get the same feeling. You get the whole 9 yards when you sit here and watch it, as well as when you drive it and everything else. That's why, Logan, I've talked about it before. iRacing, which is obviously a great sponsor right here with Goat Locker, but they try to make it true to life. And to be honest with you, I'm happy they make it true to life, because for some of us poor folks, this is the closest that we're ever going to get to be a real race car drivers and real announcers. So I'm all for it.
That you are right, my friend. We're on board right now with Brian Provo, still holding down that second spot. He's had a couple opportunities to challenge Ryan Pendleton, as Pendleton a little bit slower on the entry of the hairpin. Provo able to collect some ground back to that 23 machine. Almost got to the rear end. see, oh, hard on the brakes goes Pendleton. Provo has to adjust and shoots to the inside, makes it stick. But they're side by side coming through the middle section of this track. Pendleton gets the better of it. Provo back to P2. Pendleton holds on to the lead. Rayvon just holding out hope right now in P3. Only 0.3 of a second off of Brian Provo. Watching all of this unfold and hoping that he can come out with a couple spots potentially. We're going to take a look a little bit deeper in the field now.
Well, Logan, actually, I think he might have jinxed him right there. You were talking about Provo trying to send it in there, getting a little bit too close. And then that time right there, he almost wiped him out. Literally set him into the grass, set him into the outside retaining wall. But somehow, some way, everybody gets it straightened out. Crazy thing about it, you know, you were talking about Rayvon sitting right there in the third spot, not too far back, sitting there playing around. Check out who's all the way back up to fifth. You saw it right there just a second ago. Nathan Graham. Holy mother of God. He was the leader. He went all the way back to ninth, has shot back through the field, went around Jake Ham, Mike Browning, Patrick Travick, Cobat, all these guys. He shot past all of them. As we got one in the wall. Oh, baby, right there. There you little suspension problem. 38. That is Cobat. And I got a feeling right now he's in deep, deep trouble. Look at here. Tokyo drifted through the corner. Tried to get it straightened out. Not only that, there was another one got him right there in the right front. That's what happened to the suspension. But Tokyo drifting this thing. Hold my beer. Look at this. Bumpy, bumpy, bam. There with your right front. You, sir, need to go down pit road because your wheel is wiggling. Logan, that's all I got right there. He needs to go down pit road. His wheel is wiggling. He is in trouble.
It should be fully attached. It's a big hit. You see there on the car that makes contact. I didn't catch the number, but you saw momentarily the left front became detached. Luckily, got reattached. We're going to have some toe in, probably some camber issues for that driver, but now Kobat very, very slow on the track, just trying to limp it back around to pit road, try to see if he can get that thing repaired. Can't recall. I don't believe we have any fast repairs. We do have a fast repair in this series, Jake, so we should be able to see that number 38 back out on the track with a healthy car momentarily, but it's going to be a long while before he gets back to pits. He still has nearly half a track to get through.
He's got a long way to go, but you know, to be honest with you, you know, I'm gonna quote Smokey and the Bandit right here. Got a long way to go, but a short time to get there. I mean, we've already knocked down 8 laps of 30, and you know, before long, we'll end up being 10 laps to go. Then it'll be 5 laps to go, and Kobash is gonna have to figure out some way, somehow, shoot up through here. Watch him dive down into turn 1, try to arc it out, come down as low as they can. I've hit that inside wall a couple of times, not on iRacing, it was on Gran Turismo, but that's beside the point. Here's Pendleton, here is Provo, here is Rayvon. If you had them in your office pool at work today, you may be a lucky winner. You ain't gonna be winner of the Mega Millions, but you will be the winner of your office pool here with the Lincoln Tech IndyCar Series. Riding on board with Rayvon through all the corkscrews, left, right, rumble strips, tries to straighten it out. Pendleton, Provo, they're trying to check out and trying to leave Rayvon in the dust. Graham about 8.5 seconds back. He just got around Tyler Justice, who's sitting for 5th right now. Graham goes to 4th. Now Pendleton, Provo working their way. Long straightaway coming up. Then obviously going through the bumpy corner, which we saw Kovac get spun around in early.
Rayvon doing a great job of holding on to P3, staying close to this battle. Brian Provo on the inside, down the Ullman straight, will have the inside into turn 17, sends it in there, makes it stick. We've got a new race leader, but Pendleton gonna come back around the inside. Provo has to let up to avoid the wall on corner exit, doesn't collect the lap lead. Pendleton holds on to it with a solid hold on the inside line. Back down into turn 1. It still runs. Pendleton, Provo, Rayvon, 1, 2, and 3.
Good Lord have mercy. Provo just come oh so close. Oh, so close. It just didn't pay off for it. Pendleton saw a hole, stuck it in there. How about this? 05. Nathan Graham pole sitter, spun it around over here in the final turn 17, jumping down pit road for what will be, I'm going to assume the first pit stop. Then again, maybe they can split it right down the middle, Logan. Not 100% on all of that, but I would say maybe he's going to split it right down the middle and see what he can, we'll pit at this point, and then he can go the next 20 laps because, usually Goat Locker runs 100% fuel capacity in these cars, and I believe they can go right around a little over 20 laps on a full tank of fuel. At least, Logan, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think he's maybe going to try to pull what you would call the undercut. Go in before everybody else and then try to get out there on freshies and maybe try to run them down, at least Pendleton, Provo, and Rayvon, and just try to run them down any way that he can.
I think that's a great call. You already fell back to still inside the top 10, only fell back to the 9th position for Graham, got back up to 4th. I think that puts you in a great spot to get some fresh tires, top off on fuel, try to make it all the way to the end on this one, and just see what you can do. You might as well. You're 8 seconds behind the race leaders in that 4th spot, so it's time to change things up and see what you can maybe sneak away with something here, because the rest of this field will still have to bring it down one more time. We've already got Graham on fresh tires, so that's going to be a slight advantage already. Gives him a chance to collect some more time back up through the field, but we're still going to have an opportunity to see some of these drivers maybe make a mistake on pit road entry. This one's not a very easy one to make. It's very tight out of turn 17. You have to hold it all the way to the inside, and then as soon as you're on corner exit, you have to make that dive down to pit road, get under the speed limit. I believe here is 55 miles an hour down pit road. Correction, 45 miles an hour down pit road. So we're talking about coming out of a corner where you're doing anywhere from 110 to 120 miles an hour roughly, down to 45 within feet of the corner.
Yeah, that's a very, very tight little situation that you're talking about right there. Just trying to get down this pit road the best way that you possibly can. Don't blow it, especially for guys like Pendleton, like Provo. Rayvon, who was sitting up there, pretty good little spot battling with Pendleton. Provo, maybe trying to pull the Intimidator, hit the Intimidator square button on PlayStation 2 back in the day, try to scare him to death a little bit. It didn't work out for him. Now Rayvon, he slipped back to about 2 seconds. But back to your point about what you're talking about going down pit road. Do not blow it. Do not blow it, because we don't get cautions at road courses, Logan. It does not happen. Well, it might. You get a damn track blocker. Odds are you might get one, but 9 times out of 10, when we have road course races, you see no cautions. You see nothing. So you make that one pit stop, you blow that pit stop, you speed, you miss your pit box, or you slide the tires and you hit the wall, or whatever. You spin it around, then you drive it down backwards. Hell, I don't know. Whatever you do, do not blow your pit stop. If you blow your pit stop, you may end up costing your shot at a top 10, a top 5, a podium, or even trying to win this race.
Even trying to finish the race if it goes badly enough. But we're back up here at the front where Ryan Pendleton's still holding on against Brian Provo. Looks like we might have some lap traffic just up ahead now coming into play. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as Jamie Lipke is coming into about 10 seconds away, just ahead of our leaders there for that 16 machine. James Goshen, Doug Ellingson, both a couple laps down. Looks like James Goshen did end up picking up a black flag meatball. So that'll be a race ender for him. I think the 085 has brought it back to the garage. Doug Ellingson had some sound issues early on in the race. Thought better of it to get out of the way, don't want to cause any issues, but got it resolved, back out on track, but 6 laps down. And without those cautions, Jake, that's going to be nearly impossible to get back. We talk about how narrow this track is. A track blocker isn't out of the equation by any means. However, very unlikely, as we have a whole lot of runoff room pretty well everywhere around this track except for that front stretch. Both of our race leaders will get around that 16 of Jamie Lipke. So Lipke in that 14th position 1 lap down now. Still with a little over half the race to go. Might be able to take an opportunity here to learn some of these race leader driving lines. That could be very beneficial there for the 16.
Yeah, I mean, it very much could, for Jamie Lipke, kind of right back there. You actually mentioned Dougie back there having the sound issues. Dougie, I just send it anyway. Screw it. I mean, don't even worry about it. Just send it in there. You get into when you get into somebody, tell them you're sorry. You can tell them you're sorry. You might not hear their response, but, might be good, might be bad. Either way, but there you see good old Dougie Ellingson. Remember, I remember calling races in the and it was back for the Veterans for Life ARCA series is what it was way back in the day. Dougie was out there, Jake Ellenson, the Ellenson family, obviously. Ray out there in the live chat. Thank you, Ray, for joining us here this evening. But, I remember Dougie was in the ARCA cars, and it was such a cool thing. I can't remember. I think it was Iowa. It was somewhere. I think it was the oval track. Something happened, with Dougie. And I think him and Jake kind of got into it. Some kind of chaos ended up happening, but that's beside the point. Awesome to see Dougie back out here racing here in Goat Locker. It's been quite some time, and I'm happy to see him back out here, honestly, Logan.
Absolutely. Love having all of our Goat Locker, regulars coming in and racing with us every week. Goat Locker racing, it might look like just a league from the outside, but there's so much more going on in the background. It's a community. It's not just a group of friends that get together. It is a group of 400 friends that come out with a like-mindedness to just enjoy race cars. And it speaks volumes where most of this family over here in Goat Locker, they come from either a veteran status or first responders. And it's all about that camaraderie that we get within the whole entire group. It's a blast week in and week out with everybody around here. And it's hard to put into words, honestly, Jake. The whole thing, it's just one of those ordeals that you have to see and witness to truly understand it. But that's what we're trying to do. That's the whole purpose of these giveaways, the Sebring giveaways that we have with Patrick Drabick, going out and helping these guys get fully set up, get them out on the track, load them up with a whole lot of iRacing credits to get you started. And, you got to keep up with that. Follow that Goat Locker Racing Facebook page, Twitter, I believe on Instagram as well. Keep up with it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously keep up with all the great social media outlets here with Goat Locker. And obviously, honestly, Goat Locker is some of the best sponsors, in sim racing. Out of every single league. I mean, you mentioned it. This is not a league. It's not a league. They call it a league. I know we call it a league, but it's not a league. This is a family. That's exactly what Goat Locker Racing is. It is 100% a family full of veterans that have served this great country, or currently some maybe are, serving right now. However you want to look at it, but they do what they sacrificed for this country. And so thank you very much to those guys, for what they have done. So it's a family. It's not a league. It's a family. That's the way I look at it. And, we talked about some of the sponsors, just literally, I talked about it before. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Goat Locker Racing is like NASCAR, Logan. It literally is like NASCAR. You got the sponsors, you got the fans, you got the beef sometimes. You got it all right here. I mean, it's just like it's real on NASCAR. I mean, you can't beat it.
I know the beef is part of your favorite portion of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I don't think we're going to see too much here tonight. It all depends. We still have a little over halfway through the race to go to finally figure out who's going to win this race. Right now, looking like it's going to be between Ryan Pendleton and Brian Provo. P1 and P2 have checked out now, 2 seconds over Rick Ray Vaughn in P3. And Jake Ham in that 85 running in fourth has Tyler Justice all over him within a second, but they're both 15 seconds back from our third place driver of Rick Ray Vaughn. So it's very, very spread out now. We've got a couple battles throughout the field, like I mentioned, with Ham, Justice, We got Marcamini and Browning. They were battling just a few laps ago. It looks like Devin Smith is trying to catch up and get around the 07 of Patrick Drabick to get up into the top 10. We've got one coming down pit road. It's Ryan Pendleton. Pendleton will come out of the lead and finally bring it down pit road for the first and likely only stop, as he's going to split this one directly in half.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what he's actually going to do, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Brian Provo jump down pit road right after this as well. Speaking of Provo and Pendleton, looking right here in Discord, both of them in the Goat Locker Racing Discord channel. Both of them, they're teammates. They're racing together. Nathan Graham, he's right there lined up, teammates with him as well. And Patrick Drabick also over there as well, looking over here at some of the other teams. You got Devin Smith, Tyler Justice, and Warren Clayton out there. They're in the Save 22 vet chat. So pretty cool to see that. I got to play it real quick, Logan. I see it out there in the live chat. Jimmy Lemke, not happy. I got beef. Driving ticked off and taking damage twice. I wrecked myself. Jamie, this right here, this is for you. We got beef. Jamie's got beef, Logan.
There is beef, and we know that you're always going to bring that to the spotlight there, Jake. Love to see it. But out here on the track, we are still turning laps at an extremely fast pace. Our drivers right now only about a second off of their fastest lap so far. Brian Provo with, I believe, the fastest lap, second fastest lap in the field. Ryan Pendleton with a 1:43.829. However, last lap for Pendleton was down pit lane, but to compare it, Brian Provo last lap was a 1:44.758. So we are not off of the pace by any means. Provo, Rayvon, both of them going to bring it down pit road. As we are looking at, I believe that's Ryan Pendleton now coming down the Ullman Straight in the 7th position, but he's going to have at least 3 drivers, possibly more, in front of him on pit road, either stationary or just coming out of the exit. Keep an eye on this as we're coming down the front straight. There's the perfect shot. Here's the exit. How's it going to play out? We stay wide, and there goes Pendleton around the inside. Jake Ham holds the lead momentarily, but still has not come down pit road. Pendleton back in the lead once Ham comes down. Provo, Rayvon back in 2nd and 3rd. Nathan Graham will hold the 4th position once Ham brings it down. So we are right back to pretty well how we started this one early on. And then Graham with being able to catch up back to the top 4 earlier in the race, brought it down pit, and I think he came out around the 10th or 11th position, and since has been back up to the top 5. So quite the drive for the 05 tonight. Started on the pole, fell back to the back half of the top 10. He's looking to try to get right back into a position for a race win.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go, though, honestly. I mean, 20 seconds back, but anything can happen. You know, Graham, he had already spun himself around. We've already seen a couple of them going around as well. What I love to see out of all of that, you mentioned with Pendleton coming out, or coming through turn 1, and then Provo and Rayvon, they came out damn near synchronized when they come out of the pits. It amazed me to see when all 3 of them pitted at different times. Granted, Provo, Rayvon, they went in at the same time. Pendleton went in a lap before they did. But everybody came out just like how they was before they went in the pits. Everybody more like, maybe a little bit more of a gap, but that's beside the point. As Jake Ham jumps down pit road, will surrender to the lead to Ryan Pendleton. Now Provo, now Rayvon. They'll go 1, 2, 3. As Jake Ham back there, maybe Graham may be able to catch him, but it blew my mind sitting there seeing how Pendleton, Provo, and Rayvon, how they was before they went in the pits, is exactly how they were when they came out of the pits, because nobody screwed up. Nobody messed up going into the pits. And Logan, you talked about it, and I did as well, of how tricky this pit road is. You got to come down and think about it like this. Logan, we're used to like the NASCAR style for pit boxing. You know, our pit boxing usually is on the left side. These guys, they're on the right side. The wall is on the right side. it's flip-flopped. I mean, you got the Watkins Glen kind of style, if you will, maybe the Chicago Street Course, but, I mean, a lot of factors. These guys had to put down a lot of practice and put down a lot of time to figure out going into the
Oh!
Provo hit the rumble strip, spun it around. Rayvon goes by, and this may be what Nathan Graham needed. Here comes Nathan Graham. He's going to try to go for third.
And here's what I'm noticing as we just watched that happen. Provo goes wide once more. Graham gets by on the inside. Kind of a lucky sequence of events there for Nathan Graham, but puts him right back into a podium spot, although going to have to hold off Brian Provo in the 08. Take it back here to the V-Speed instant replay. You'll see exactly like you described, just a little bit of a touch on that rumble strip here as we come out of this corner. Actually, looks like the bumps might have upset just a little bit before that. I think he's started to have that back end come around before ever touching the rumble strip there. Provo collects it back up, holding down P4. He's got a 12-second advantage over Jake Ham in fifth. Rick Rayvon got extremely lucky moving on board here for this one. That was very, very close to contact between the two cars. That could have taken out both of these drivers and put Graham right into P2. Ooh, quick thinking there for Rayvon to go back to the left and avoid that one. That's great driver thinking. That's thinking ahead of it, rather.
Yeah, I mean, Logan, that right there was almost a spilling your beer moment right there for Rayvon. I mean, he was not expecting it at all. And this out of nowhere Provo gets sideways. Could have been a combination of both. You talked about the bumps. You talked about, I was talking about the rumble strip. Could have been a combination of both. Once he hit the bumps, he was already getting sideways. Then when he hit the rumble strips, it basically just finished him off and set him straight around. But all of that has brought Rayvon back into this. Think about this. Rayvon was about a second and a half, close to 2 seconds back. Pendleton gets sideways, goes wide, hits the rumble strip. Rayvon now, he jumps to the lead. Pendleton and Provo, both of them blowing in almost the exact same corner. 2 different laps. Rayvon being consistent, takes it to the front. Number 1 is number 1, but for how long? Pendleton trying to put some pressure on him going into 1.
Well, I was saying there earlier about noticing some data here from those pit stops. It looks like Nathan Graham spending considerably less time in pit road, only 7.5 seconds whenever he came down about 10 laps ago now. So everybody else in that 10 to 11 second range, indicating to me that the 05 actually only took fuel only for his pit stop. Rayvon, Pendleton, Provo, all on fresh tires. I think that's where these slides are starting to come into play. The tires not quite back up to temperature. A little bit happy on the throttle in some of these corners. That'll do it. Gets that rear end completely spun around. We've seen it twice to start the race. And then now, for Pendleton and Provo both in the top 3. Luckily enough for the 23 of Pendleton, able to hold on to a podium spot. Unlike Provo, still trying to battle back for that 3rd position with Nathan Graham about 1.5 seconds ahead. Graham holding on to an 8-second disadvantage to Pendleton and Rayvon. So a couple more mistakes up here at the front could put the 05 right back in the battle.
It very much could. I mean, granted, you see it right there as far as the ticker goes, about 8 seconds back from this battle, but slowly, I mean, you see the gap actually started to close in. Now it starts to actually, it's going right back to close it in. Very much so now that it's 7.5 seconds. That is Nathan Graham trying to close into that. You see him way back there. At least he can see the leaders. So at least he's got a carrot in front of him. That way he can actually chase something. If you can't see the guys that you're trying to chase, then it kind of kills the mood. It kind of kills, the drive for Nathan Graham, but at least he can barely see him, so he's got a little bit to try to gather up and try to make happen. But I mean, you got to give a call to the 1 of Rayvon. You got to give a call to him because he ran his race. He's not running Pendleton's race. He wasn't running Provo's race. He's not running Nathan Graham's race. He is running Rayvon's race. That is exactly what you need to do in these situations for these road courses. I mentioned it, Logan. You don't get cautions often. You don't get them. Well, actually, you never get them. Like I said, unless you get a track blocker. 9 times out of 10 don't happen. Now Rayvon's going to slip just as good as I'm talking about him. Commentator curse may end up happening for Rayvon, but that's what you got to do when you're on these road courses. That was one of the keys that I was going to mention, Logan, at the start of the race, is be consistent. Don't blow it. Don't screw up. Stay on the racetrack any way that you can. Stay on asphalt. Do not hit grass, and you will come out of this with a good finish. Rayvon's in that situation. Jake Ham is in that situation sitting for P5. Nathan Graham, when he spun out, he's still trying to catch back up to Rayvon and Pendleton. Tyler Justice back there. Marcomi, we haven't talked a whole lot about the 78. Very quiet night, sitting back there in the 7th spot as well. But staying on the track is going to be key to getting a good finish here tonight at Sebring, and Rayvon has done it to perfection.
Oh, issues for Marcomini. Tyler Justice, Marcomini making contact. I believe that was down the Ulman straight there. That's going to put Justice back a couple spots. Matthias Marcomini was catching up to Tyler Justice. Back on the V-Speed instant replay. Let's take a look at what happened here. This was, contact to the rear end and ships him around. Doesn't look to be intentional by any means. Maybe just not expecting that 33 to be a little bit slower. And it looks like Warren Clayton also having an issue in the 117. Just ahead of Regis Clark and Patrick Dravick in the 9th spot. Falls back to 11. We've got chaos here in the last 10 laps of this one.
That's what I love. I love the chaos.
We know it.
I love the chaos. I love all the crazy stuff out of it. I'm sure Tyler Justice, maybe he is going to share the same beliefs that Jamie Lemke has right now. Probably going to have a little bit of beef, maybe with Marcomi. Granted, Marcomi maybe sent it in there, wasn't thinking Tyler Justice, like you said, was going to be a little bit slower, ended up getting him in the back end. And bad part about it, Logan, this happened again. I was talking good about Marcomi. I was talking good about Justice. Somehow or another, when I talk good about them, they match, they meet, they make contact. Justice goes around. Marconi's probably got a little bit of front end damage, maybe not a whole lot of front end damage, but these cars, these Indy cars, is way different than what you will see tomorrow night with the Cruising Classics Next Gen Series. These, the Next Gen cars, the NASCAR Next Gen cars, is way more durable. You can bang a little bit. These, like the Tech Indy cars, a little bit different. You can knock the wing off these things. You can knock the wheel. We've already seen that happen already. Got to be fragile with these cars. So Marconi getting into the back of Justice and sending him around. I'm sure he's got a little bit of a ding on his front wing. How will that affect the downforce on that 78? Sitting in 6th. Mike Browning hasn't caught it yet. So he's comfortably sitting in the 6th position, about 5 seconds up from Browning. But we will certainly have to be keeping an eye on that for Marconi, keeping an eye on that throughout the rest of this race to see if he does drop it.
Nathan Graham back into pit lane one more time here. He'll be good to go to the end. That undercut idea not working out for the 05. Just up there in the top 5. Now back to the 7th position. Falls behind Matthias Marcomini and Mike Browning. There's going to be another drive here for Graham to get back up to the top 5. Got about almost a 2-second disadvantage to Mike Browning, who is 5.5 seconds behind that 78 of Marcomini. So it's going to be quite a ways. We saw Nathan Graham with an 8-second disadvantage to the top 3. Wasn't quite able to close that gap up, but he's been in this position once already this race. He made a great effort to get back up there. Ryan Pendleton with an effort to the inside of Ray Vaughn down in turn 17. Will he make that same mistake that Ray Vaughn made earlier? He does not. Keeps it away from the wall. Doesn't have to lift nearly as much. Ray Vaughn back to P2. Pendleton back to the lead. Down into turn 1. What does that number 1 machine have as he's going to take a look to the inside? Wheel to wheel. Rayvon gets the better of it. Oh man, this is tight through this section here. Side by side, you don't see it often. Pendleton gets out ahead by just enough. He's going to beat him down to the hairpin, which is going to be important. Pendleton defending the inside. Rayvon looks to the outside. Can't do anything with it. That corner, not the place to go for the outside move. Just trying to beat him in the braking zone. Here we go through the middle section of the track, and the battle is in full force. Down into turn 10. Right-hander back to a sweeping left to a very light right hand into an immediate 90-degree corner to the right one more time. This is where we saw Rayvon have issues earlier out in turn 13 there. Handles it a whole lot better this time. Very quick section here before we get back to that home and straight down into turn 17. Wide entry on turn 16. Now you got to take advantage of this draft here and see if Rayvon can close up that gap a little bit before we get down to Sunset Bend. He does. Pendleton defending the inside again. Rayvon looking to make the outside work. Doesn't quite get there, but goes for that over-under move. Closes up the gap quite a bit. Will we have a challenge into turn 1? Also to start lap 24. To the outside goes the 1 machine. Pendleton holds on to the inside. Rayvon a little bit loose on the outside. That'll allow Pendleton some breathing room for now.
How about the sending right here between these guys? Honestly, Logan, I mean, just absolutely getting after it right here. This is what we like to see. This is kind of that redneck kind of racing that I like to see. Both of these guys just absolutely going after it. Rayvon trying to maybe throw Pendleton off, maybe try to spook him any way that he can. Right up on his back door. He's like Sheriff Justice. For those of you, I was talking about Smokey and the Bandit a while ago. Rayvon is Sheriff Justice, and Pendleton is the Bandit, literally chasing him down. All this going on 10 seconds ahead of Brian Provo. If something happens, Rayvon gets into Pendleton, both of them mess up one way or another, which odds are, the way that they're driving and as hard as they're driving, I wouldn't be surprised Brian Provo may get back into this bad boy. Rayvon trying to figure out a way, left, right, work their way, coming down to the back chute here in just a little bit and working their way through 16 and 17. Here comes Pendleton, hits the rumble strip. Rayvon trying to get onto the draft. Use every little bit that he can to suck up to the back door of Ryan Pendleton. Maybe try that over-under like you were talking about a minute ago, Logan. Here comes Rayvon. Outside, hits a couple of cones. Why not? Go ahead and T-bone them suckers. Here comes Rayvon. Gets a run. Tries to get the draft any way that he can, but Pendleton got a better run. Rayvon literally filling up the rearview mirror of the number 23 of Ryan Pendleton, making him run away like a scalded dog and try to get out of here. But Rayvon is not giving up. Pendleton is going to have to drive perfect for the next 6 laps if he wants to win this bad boy.
That he is. Lap 25, nearly halfway complete now. And it's not going to be easy. Rayvon has been all over in that rearview mirror since the beginning of this race. Nearly gets to the back end of Pendleton. The 23 safe for now. That's what you have to think about is the contact to the rear end. It might send Pendleton into the grass, but it has a higher chance of knocking that front wing off of Rick Rayvon's number 1 machine. And that is what would put Brian Provo right back in the fight. When we saw that contact with Matthias Marcamini and Tyler Justice, Marcamini got very lucky that the front wing didn't fall off of that 78 machine. Otherwise, he would be falling through the field exponentially as the front downforce is just so important in these cars. You cannot lose that front wing and expect to do good in a race. But here we are still battling it out. As you can see, the front end of that number 1 bouncing all over the place as we came through turn 14 and 15. To the inside he goes. Pendleton looking to maybe pinch on the entry. See how it plays out. Rayvon gets the advantage. What does Pendleton do here? He's got nothing for it. Both a little bit wide on exit. Rick Rayvon doing a great job of defending on the corner exit. Pendleton back to the inside across the front stretch into turn 1. Rick Rayvon got that lap led, but loses a position rather quickly. Man, this side-by-side action right now is just all in. Turns 3, 4, and 5, the switchback section that I love so much. You don't hardly see the side-by-side battling there, as Rick Rayvon does follow back behind that 23 again. Takes a look one more time to the outside, trying to beat Pendleton on the brakes. But down into the hairpin, 23 gets a great exit, keeps it ahead of the 1. Down through turn 9. Right hand to turn 10, Cunningham corner. Into turn 11, Collier. Turn 12 and 13 coming up.
Oh, baby, I'm just waiting on one of them to door bang one another. I'm waiting on it, Logan. Somebody's going to door bang somehow, some way. I don't know how they ain't done it yet. 5 to go. Sooner or later, somebody's going to door bang. We've seen wing bang, we've seen bumper bang, we've seen tire bang, we've seen it all, but we have not seen the dreaded door bang here tonight with the Lincoln Tech IndyCar Series. Rayvon almost drops it off track. Pendleton tries to follow him as well. Catches the draft, working their way down the back chute. Here comes Pendleton. Another shot down to the inside. Provo's already made up about 2 seconds over both of these guys as hard as they've been racing for the lead. Could end up playing a factor. Pendleton damn near smacks the wall down coming off of 17. He takes back the lead. Rayvon now trying to give chase as well. Provo trying to run them both down. What an opener we are getting here with Go Locker for the Lincoln Tech IndyCar Series, baby. I was iffy about road courses. Not anymore, baby. These guys are absolutely sending it, getting after it.
Now, Jake, I've got to play devil's advocate here. How does one door bang in a car without doors?
You got me, but that's beside the point. That's beside the point. Look, they got to get in the car one way or another. You got the sides. The sides is the door banging, but that's, I mean, hey, look, I mean, you can door bang on a motorcycle for all I care. I mean, I don't know, heck, I mean, that's redneck terminology, if you will. Rayvon down trying to work his way through the little corkscrew. Left, left, inside, outside. Tries to take a shot. Tries to throw Pendleton off. Pendleton lefts. No, he doesn't. Sends it back in. Rayvon all over his back door. Provo's already made up another 1.5 seconds. 6 seconds back. Starting to get closer and closer. Rayvon sees that the time is now. Sending it. Trying to get around Pendleton. They are door to door. Pendleton backs away once again. Rayvon jumps back in front of him. Neither one of them hit the grass that time around. Rayvon back to the lead. Pendleton hits the draft back down to the inside. It's literally going to be a fight for survival. Who can make it at the end? And I will say this, every single time they've went through 16 and 17 turns, they've hit one of them. Pendleton's either hit the cones, Rayvon's hit the cones. I don't know who's out there stacking them damn things back up and getting them lined back up, but they need a pay raise. Rayvon back in behind Pendleton, trying to get him to throw it off a little bit, takes it outside, inside, back on his back door once again. 3 laps to go. Live chat, light it up. You gotta be entertained with all this.
This is certainly feeling like that race we mentioned on the top of the show, with Eddie Smith and Brandon Evans coming down through turn 17 and knocking the front left wheel off before they got back to the start-finish line. Pendleton to the inside, down to the hairpin, holds on to P1. Rick Rayvon still all over that back bumper. Yeah, this excitement level, it's coming up, Jake. We are going to see something crazy here, and I have a feeling that Brian Provo is going to be involved in a 3-wide race for the win here, as he is closed up to just 4.5 seconds now. He's got very little time to get there, but this battle here, back and forth, it's so fierce. They're losing time every single corner to the 08.
They made contact right there, Logan. You see it right there with Rayvon right there on the front left wing. Looked like it kind of got knocked off a little bit. Somebody's wing, it was purple. It got knocked off there just a little bit. There was contact. It was a door bang. We'll call it. It's even closer than that. We'll just go ahead and call it. It was a door bang. Provo seeing every bit of this, loving it. He is also in the same chat as Ryan Pendleton, so I'm sure he's hearing Pendleton absolutely grunting every time he goes through the corner, having to deal with Rayvon. Rick Rayvon trying to hold on to second, trying to go around Pendleton. Hits the line this time. 2 laps to go here in the season opener Lincoln Tech IndyCar Series. Good Lord have mercy. This is what we love right here. This is why we love Goat Locker. Rayvon sends it. Pendleton tries to put the block on him. I got a feeling, I'm going to play devil's advocate once again, Logan. I got a feeling Pendleton, Rayvon, they ain't even going to win this thing. I think Provo's in position for it because I think Rayvon and Pendleton, they're going to end up getting into one another. Provo's going to drive by them.
If Provo can just get within about a second of these drivers, I think he'll be right within that range of the draft bubble as we come down the straightaways, which will be so beneficial to him in that P3 spot. Give him a big run and try to make that challenge for the race win. At this point, last lap, Provo was about 4.5 to 5 seconds behind Rick Rayvon. Now, just 3 1/4 for second place. 3.5 seconds back behind Ryan Pendleton, but we see how tight this battle is. It is not going away by any means anytime soon. Back into turn 16. Rather, a little bit early there. Now we're into turn 16. Rick Rayvon needs to get a hold of that draft. I think that wing damage might have settled this one out for that position between those two drivers, but Provo still close enough. And Rayvon doing a great job of holding down a great speed through the tight sections. You see a little bit of lock up there on the inside tires for that number 1. So he's certainly battling that car at this point. Pendleton able to get out by now over half a second. There's that draft coming into play down into turn 1. Rayvon able to get back into within a quarter. White flag is out. 1 lap to go. Rayvon looks to the outside in turn 3. Can't do anything with it. Falls right back behind in turn 4. Switchback section. That's where they're losing all their ground. Provo was able to gain half a second there just in those 2 corners. But he's going to lose a little bit of ground as we make our way down to the hairpin for the final time tonight. Ryan Pendleton, Rick Rayvon, who has what it takes to make it to the checkered flag as we're coming down through turn 9. Who's it going to be? Turn 10. Only 7 more to go.
Rayvon was able to shoot around Ryan Pendleton. Something amiss on the 23. Pendleton got some serious issues going on back there in the 23. Something amiss. Maybe out of gas. Maybe he's not able to make it back. Provo was able to shoot by him. Now Rayvon, does he have enough of gas? He should be able to because him and Provo pitted after Ryan Pendleton. So Pendleton might have stretched it a little bit too much on fuel. Rayvon looks like he is going to be able to coast all the way. Pendleton is going to wonder what if. Rayvon diving into the turn 16-17 for the final time.
Down underneath the Sunset Bridge. Out of turn 17. It's never been this easy for Rick Rayvon as the celebration starts early and he takes home the first win of the Lincoln Tech IndyCar Series for the Goat Locker Racing Fall Series. And what a race we had. It was a battle from lap 1, Jake. It was never decided who was going to win this one until about lap 13, or corner 13 on lap 30.
Wow, what a finish right there. Brian Provo able to come back about 2 seconds back from Rick Rayvon. Get him a second place finish. How about Jake Ham? Out of nowhere. Very quiet night. Barely talked about that 85. Comes home, finishes 3rd. Nathan Graham, who was on the pole, started on the pole, ends up finishing 4th. And Marconi, after that contact with Tyler Justice, he ends up flip-flopping around, gets him a top 5. Ryan Pendleton, after his issues all the way down to 11th, he has got to be irate. He has got to be probably cussing up a storm, and Patrick Dravick over in the Goat Locker Racing chat is hearing all about it right now. I bet you he is. But the knife does belong to the man who started on the outside of the front row, Rick Ray Vaughn. Number 1 is number 1 here tonight, Logan.
And a great drive we saw. You know, I would have to say Pendleton certainly would be upset about running out of fuel, but with the battle that he was in for the entire second half of the race, you have to be extremely happy with how that went. Great racecraft displayed by both of those drivers, as you know, the side by side and on such a tight track was just incredible to see here. Sebring putting on one hell of a show to kick the season off. Rick Ray Vaughn finally back around the track, back to the start-finish line. There we go. Park it right on that checkered stripe. Wiggle those wheels in celebration, Rick Ray Vaughn. But for you at home, stick around. We're going to send it to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with post-race interviews and our final results for tonight's race.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
Tyler Justice in the 33, finishing out behind in 7th. Regis Clark, the 8 machine, finishes out in 8th. Only rightful for the numbers to match. The 07 of Patrick Dravick finishes out inside the top 10 with a 9th place finish. And last but not least, the 117 of Warren Clayton rounds out the top 10.
And you got 11 through 17 and the 11th place finisher. Hate to see this right here for this man, Brian Pendleton, who looked like he was probably going to win this damn thing. and just out of absolutely nowhere, fuel pump took a crap on him. He ran out of gas. He wasn't able to make it. Last one to finish on the lead lap, finishes in 11th. What could have been for the 23 of Ryan Pendleton, the rest of these drivers. One lap down or more. You got Cobat ends up finishing in 12th with Devin Smith finishing in 13th. JB Lemke had a little bit of beef out there on the live chat. We documented it. He ends up finishing 14th. Here this evening, JB Lemke 14th. James Goshen, quiet night for him. Didn't talk a whole lot about him. But 085 finishes 15th with Doug Ellenson finishing in 16th. And Noah Hogard finishes 17th here this evening.
I didn't catch it, but Noah Hogard actually running race control here for us tonight. So big shout out to Hoagie behind the scenes, keeping things in line for us. So that is our race results here tonight in Sebring, Florida. What do you say we catch a word now with some of our podium finishers? And I say, we saw it. We saw the excitement. I think Rick Ray Vaughn, rather, is ready for an interview up here in the V-Speed booth. We'll get him pulled up. Rick Ray Vaughn. You got Logan and Jake Reeves up here in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy, driver?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Doing fantastic, Rick. After watching you battle with Ryan Pendleton for more than half the race for that race win, luck kind of fell your way when Pendleton ran out of fuel, assumingly. You come away with the first win of the season. Tell me about that battle, though. That was intense. Ever since you started this race in P2, I don't believe you ever left the top 5 by any means. Man, what a battle just through and through ever since the start.
Well, we were saving fuel because we knew that it was, if you could make 15, then you could make it to the end. So that was the idea. And just to hang there with them and, no pressure. And I'm new, so I don't know all these guys' names. But the leader spun, and that allowed us to get the lead. But and then we were battling up there up front with somebody, I forget his name. Sorry about that, but I'm new here, so I don't have everybody memorized. And it was fun finding out with him. He pitted a lap before we did. So I knew if he made it to the end, it would be a miracle. And it was just, we're just out there having fun. And he was backing up to me pretty savagely, so I knew he was desperate in saving fuel. And when he took the white flag, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Can he make it? But I had plenty in reserve. I had a lot of fuel in reserve and a lot of push to pass. So I just planned on running him down on the straightaway and going for the win that way. But that's a little risky. But hey, look, it all worked out, and when he pulled over to the side, and I'm glad he did, because I probably would have run into the back of him. But he raced like a gentleman, and good racer, man. Good racer. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season.
Absolutely, Rick, buddy. We are looking forward to the rest of the season. And, real quick, before I ask you the question, hell of a battle right there. That was one of the wildest battles that I've seen on a road course in Indy cars, or on a road course in general. It's one of the wildest battles I've ever seen, so congratulations on that. But, Sebring, I talked about it. Logan talked about it. We both talked about it, how tricky this place is with all the corners. And then you got that last turn where it gets real bumpy and you're bouncing around all over the place like you're on a dirt road back in the country. But which part of the course was the most challenging for Rick Ray Vaughn here this evening?
The entire thing. Basically, this is one of the bumpiest, if not the bumpiest tracks on planet Earth. And turn 1 is tough because you could easily clip the inside of that wall with your left side. So you got to kind of balance it through there. And then there's other corner. I don't know which one, like turn 8, turn 9, turn 12, turn 14, turn 91. There's so many bumps, and the car just bounces like this. The springs, like it's a dune buggy, which I think iRacing should probably fix that. But you're just bouncing around in that final corner before you come onto the main straightaway. That's a challenge, to get exactly right. You could run high groove and you could run middle groove. You could dive it down to the inside and you'd see a lot of action there. But, if you get it wrong, if you're 52% on the throttle, you're fine. If you're 52.5% on the throttle, the back end could jump out on you. So, you're just on a razor's edge out there, and this track is extremely challenging. So, very rewarding to come out with the win tonight.
Well, luckily enough for you, you talk about how bumpy Sebring was. There's only one other course on the schedule that isn't a daily dedicated road course, and that's going to be Long Beach. That'll be another street circuit here in 2 weeks. But the rest of them, theoretically, should be a whole lot more smooth and not feel like a retired Air Force base. But beside the point, Rick Ravon, again, fantastic race. What a battle you displayed with Ryan Pendleton. Is there anybody that you would like to say thanks to? Anybody watching at home that you might like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, my entire Italian family from Newark, New Jersey, they're all watching. They're all cheering me on. No, nobody's watching. Nobody cares. My wife isn't even watching, and she always roots me on. Hey, go for it, honey. Good luck. Stand on it. But she never watches. But hi to her. Thanks to Ryan Pendleton for giving me a good race and racing clean. I've raced with him before, and I know that he's a clean racer, so I knew that we could get away with side by side through the corners. It's important to have a mental book on your drivers, and I'm glad that I knew Ryan. I don't really know too many others here. Tyler Justice, I know him. We race in another league together, and he's pretty clean as well. But let's see, Mateus. No, Mateus is good too. I know him. I'm going through the list now. I think that's about it. But Brian Provo, Pendleton, and me, the three of us just pulled away. We were very similar in speed. Any one of us could have got the pole, but that was just a fun race. It was very exciting and very challenging, and the strategy came into play and all that. And I just want to thank you guys for broadcasting. Thank you to the people who put this league on. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. And last but certainly not least, thank you to the Lord Jesus for dying on the cross for me. He is everything to me. He's my Lord. He's my Savior, my refuge, my comfort, my strength, everything. Thank you, Jesus. I love you. Thanks, guys. Take it easy, man.
Amen.
Likewise, Rick. Again, congratulations and welcome to the Goat Locker family. You said that you're new here, but hopefully you'll stick around and continue to put on these incredible efforts.
Well, after a race like today, so much fun, so challenging, so clean. Yeah, I'm in it for the long haul, baby.
Absolutely. Well, we'll catch up with you next week or later on through the schedule. Congrats on the first race win.
Thank you, my brother.
That's going to do it all for Rick Ravon. That's going to move us right down to P2. Brian Provo. Jake, I believe you've caught up with Brian.
Absolutely, Brian Provo. Slide him on up here. See what Mr. Provo has got going on. Is actually you set him up here, and then I set him right back down there, and I set him right back down there. Go ahead, Logan. Go ahead. I ain't gonna touch nothing. Go ahead.
I'm just trying to make life easy up here. There you go. Take it away.
Brian, buddy, you're here.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for bringing me in.
Yeah, it took us a minute to get you in here. One way or another, we'll get you in here one way or another. But
yeah.
Brian, buddy, you come home second night, started third. Had a, decent night. If you will, tell us about your race, because right there coming at that point, you see Ravon up there, you see Pendleton. I know you and Pendleton were talking to the Goat Locker racing chat and everything. Were you just kind of hoping like hell that both of them was going to wreck into each other, and then that way you could just drive right by them?
I was hoping they were going to battle each other. I know they were tight on racing, and Ryan was trying to save that fuel. But yeah, Rick was just able to hold him off, and then once he got by on that last lap, I just didn't have enough pace or tires to really kind of close that 2 to 3 second gap. That was a little too much, but yeah, Rick ran a phenomenal race. So did Ryan until that last lap, ran out of fuel. But yeah, it was fun.
Well, Brian, we found you in multiple battles throughout the night. 1 point, getting a little sent off track there. A little bit of a miscue, but you were able to recover. We saw you, I think you fell back to maybe P5 or P6 when that happened, but immediately back on the horse, chasing down the drivers that got around you, and obviously coming away with a P2 finish. What was that drive like whenever you finally had to maybe navigate some drivers that you hadn't quite seen yet?
Yeah, just kind of lost control. Fresh tires coming out of the pits. They were still warming up. Brian had an extra lap on them, so I was just trying to push hard to hopefully get by him early. and then just spun it around. Luckily, kept it out of the wall. Nate Graham passed me. I knew he was on a 2-stop, so I just kind of coasted behind him, tried to save a little bit of fuel, make sure I had enough, and then once I knew I was good, just head down and try to put some good lap times on and try to catch the leaders. But yeah, it was tough, but it was fun. Hard track, very technical. A lot of things that you can miscue, like you kind of hinted at, and different braking zones, a lot of different ones. So it's a fun track, though.
Yeah, it seemed like it was a fun track, Brian. I mean, to be quite honest with you, you done better than I could have, because I probably wouldn't even made it the first lap. I would have probably nosed it straight into the wall, going into turn 1, locked it up, hit the bumps. I'd have been done, and I would have been calling it a night very early on. But Brian, buddy, congratulations on the second place finish. Good Lord, start for you right here for season 1 here for the Lincoln Tech IndyCar Series and Fall Series. And as we always do, buddy, you got any sponsors, any shout-outs?
Yeah, of course, Jam and Pretty and promotions, and then obviously big shout out to Lincoln Tech for sponsoring this race series for getting close to a year now. Maybe they've been sponsoring this series for a long time. Very fortunate for that, and then obviously Alexander PCs. Make sure you reach out to them, get a discount code if you're Goat Locker Racer. Yeah.
Pretty much does it on that, I guess. It was quick.
Rounds it out. Yeah, rounds it out pretty easy.
All right, Brian, buddy. Appreciate your time, buddy.
All right, guys. Yeah, take care.
Well, Jake, that kind of wraps things up for us as well. Jake Ham has skedaddled on out of here. He's not down in the waiting room for his third place interview, so maybe we'll get a chance to catch up with him later on through the series. But for now, what's your thoughts about tonight? I know you said you're hesitant about a road course, but you seem to really get into it there at the end.
Well, I mean, Logan, you think, redneck at heart, we feel like we are oval series drivers. The only time that we're thinking about running on a road course is that, when we're running from the law and we got moonshine in the back of our car. That's all we're ever worried about when we're going to turn right. Most of the time we're thinking about turning left. We're thinking like Atlanta, Texas, other tracks like that. But this track right here in particular, this one right here was a fantastic start for the Lincoln Tech IndyCar Series. You saw comers, you saw goers, you saw strategy, saw some crashes, and to be honest with you, to me personally, Logan, it had that old Atlanta vibe, if you will. And what I mean by that is we talked about how rough the track is, how bumpy it is, or maybe even an old auto club. Think old auto club, because the auto club, if anybody's raced, an auto club on iRacing, they know that it will beat you half to death. It is so bumpy, it will it will literally knock your shorts off while you're sitting in your sim rig. And that's what it felt like to me. It felt like an old school kind of race. You got two guys literally slugging it out, and it was basically whoever was going to get there first. Both of them raced clean. Unfortunately, Pendleton ran out of gas. I would have loved to see what would have happened had he had enough fuel to make it all the way to the end. That would have been an absolute barn burner. It was a barn burner anyway, but it would have been awesome to see how that sucker would have ended. And Logan, that's just 1 week. That's just how this, that's literally how this sucker started. You got Texas, Long Beach, you going all the way down to December. Son, it is going to be a barn burner of a season on Lincoln Tech IndyCar Series.
Week 1 of 16 is in the books. And like you said, it's just an absolute show that we had here tonight. That top 3 battle was intense. But for now, we're going to sign off and say see you later, at least until next week. For everybody behind the scenes at Goat Locker, Patrick Dravick, Jamie Barkus, all the other admins, and of course, all the fantastic sponsors here, Lincoln Tech, Save 22, Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, iRacing, of course, with all the help that they give with setting up these newer sim rig recipients that Goat Locker gives away. Above the Yellow Line, Sim Motion, Jam Printing and Promotion, Lincoln Tech, of course. It's been a blast. For everybody behind the scenes at B-Speed, Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper, Eddie Smith for everything that he does between B-Speed and Goat Locker. And of course, tonight, colleagues in the booth, Jake Reeves, Michael McCarthy. Fantastic show tonight. And of course, you got to give the shout outs. What a crazy camera pack that we had provided to us by the great Dougie Beard. My name's Logan Threlkeld. We will see you next week at Texas. But for now, don't forget to check out the rest of the races going on this season. We're opening up all of the series for the fall series this week. Tomorrow, it's Next Gens. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll see you.